is up, viewers? Patrick from Ball vs. Only back with another YouTube video, and this is episode number 2 of Knowledge Week on Ball versus of the day. And today's verse comes out of Proverbs 18 verse 15, and it reads, "The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out." And that's what that verse means. And let's get into our church recap, and we're going to start in Luke 8. In Luke 8, verses 43, 44, and 45, and here's what it says. Alright, starting in verse 43. It says, "And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. 'Who touched me?' Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, 'Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you.'" And that's all for the verse portion. And now we're going to go to let's do Revelation. Revelation chapter 11, verse 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here is what it says. And it reads, "And I will appoint my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. They are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands, and they stand before the Lord of the earth. If anyone tries to harm them, fire comes from their mouths and devours their enemies. This is how anyone who wants to harm them must die. They have power to shut up the heavens so that it will not rain during the time they are prophesying, and they have power to turn the waters into blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they want." And finally, John 11. And in John 11, verses 1 through 43, and here is what it says. Alright, it says, "Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha." Skipping down to verse 4, it says, "When he heard this, Jesus said, 'This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it.'" Alright, verse 9. It says, Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they see by this world's light. It is when a person walks at night that they stumble, for they have no light." Alright, verse 10, which says, I already read verse 10. Alright, verse 13, which says, "Jesus had been speaking of his death, but his disciples thought he meant natural sleep." Verse 14 says, "So then he told them plainly, 'Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe, but let us go to him.'" So basically Lazarus died in this part. Here's verse 16. "Then Thomas said to the rest of the disciples, 'Let us also go, that we may die with him.'" Alright, verse 16. Yes, verse 16. And it said, I already read verse 16. Alright, skipping to verse 39. And here's what it says. "Take away the stone," he said. "But Lord," said Martha, the sister of the dead man, "by this time there is a bad odor, for he had been there 4 days." Alright, verse 40, it says, "Then Jesus said, 'Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?' So they took away the stone. Then Jesus looked up and said, 'Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And that is all for the verse portion. And the verse to leave you with today it says in Philippians 2 verses 7 through 8, it says, "Rather he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as a man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross." And that's going to do it for the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, meet again, viewers. In every way, God's way is always the best way.